One more spot in the grand final. The RLO Grand Slam is here, and we're about to find out who will take down this big cash prize, $14,000 for first place. And that is a guaranteed $9,500 for second place for anyone who wins this match.
Yeah, so much money on the line. I'm not ashamed to admit it. That's more than my bank account at the moment. So I am insanely jealous of all of these players.
Are you kidding me? Teams. Surely that kitchen's worth at least double that, right?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, look, it's all my housemate's money, okay? He brings in the money. I just freeload as much as I can. However, back to the tournament at hand, obviously looking at this prize pool. Already, these teams have netted themselves that $6,500, but as you said, $9,000 for second place, $1,400 for first place, all of this in USD. So when you do that cheeky conversion, it's actually quite a fair bit more. So one of the largest, if not the largest, you're the expert in that regards when it comes to community tournaments for like this kind of prize pool. So a huge thank you to Psyonix for putting that together and helping us organize it in that sense. It's been a blast so far, and it's almost sad really that there are only 2 series left.
Oh, sure, but they're also the most exciting series. If you want the conversion, that's 20,000 Australian dollars for first place, a little bit over that. And this is how the teams have panned out so far. We've got some upsets from Mindfreak over Ground Zero and Aurora Esports over Team Skyfire in very close series earlier today. But Renegades got here by taking down Ground Zero in that first round. But Aurora Esports going through Riot Gaming 4-0 in the first round, taking down Skyfire. They've earned a spot that nobody rightfully expected them and have a chance to go even further.
Exactly that. I mean, again, when they had that matchup against Riot Gaming, I felt like they had a good chance to go to 5th and 6th, which when I saw that lineup, I thought that may have been overachieving. But then to take down Skyfire in one of the most exciting Game 7s we have seen. Obviously, Aurora, maybe they're playing on house money, but also at that same time, Zen is someone who probably isn't going to be satisfied with that. I think this player in particular wants to go further, wants to take down that Renegades. And Leviathan and Fiber, 2 young players, 2 very new players, they're kind of along for this wild ride. And how crazy would it be if they dethrone the Renegades right now?
It would be especially crazy because at this point in time, for somehow, Renegades are the longest standing roster in this tournament. CJ Kami and Siki have been together since the previous RLCS season. So not very long at all, but they managed to stick together. They're getting the results from that after a rough RLCS season, and they want to continue winning. They want to stay as the champions of OCE after winning Spring Series. Zen, Leviathan, and Fiber obviously have a lot to prove as the young guns here, who have already done way more than expected, who've already proven that they could take the top 4. And for me, that means that if you can take top 4, you can pretty much take a top 8 in RLCS. We'll see if they can do it again. We can see if they can go further, because we've seen massive performances from these 2 rookies in Leviathan and Fiber.
Yeah, Fiber in particular has just been playing unreal throughout the entirety of this tournament. I mean, that flip reset to sort of start our day off yesterday, it was already making its rounds on Reddit, yet it is Zed who's going to be putting on that initial pressure right now from Aurora. A quick attack, however, it's a short-lived one as the Renegades now find themselves on the orange side of the pitch.
And we know exactly what to expect from Aurora Esports. Their solo plays is where it counts, and they actually go for a lot of demos. They only had 3 demos in their first match, all from Zen, none from the other 2 players, but those guys have all got solo play potential, all big money plays, and that's a huge musty to open it up. It only just gets saved out.
Yeah, and that is the threat of Aurora right there. Their individual mechanics are some of the best, bar none, within the Oceanic region, and they can create those kind of opportunities from out of nowhere. However, going back to your demo point from before, I do want to see Aurora kind of step it up on that game, because they're against the Renegades, which means they're against Kami, who is kind of that unofficial demo king of the Oceanic region. One of the best bump players, one of the best demo players, and he will create a lot of opportunities for the Renegades through his playstyle alone.
At this point, though, for somebody like Aurora, you don't want to change up the tried and true formula. The bumps haven't been part of their playstyle. If they change it now, they're only going to mess with themselves. So sticking to what you know is the path forward for them, especially considering they've had some really good shots so far in this game.
Yeah, they have. They have definitely come out of the gate swinging. Haven't quite hit that mark yet, but maybe Levi can create something right now. Going to go for the corner setup. Tommy can make the read from underneath and then push a little bit too far forward, so it does mean Fiber's going to have to burn a lot of boost crossing the pitch. This will eventually open the door for the Renegades. Ball heading towards the target. Sticky not wanting to commit.
We haven't seen anything really from the Renegades so far. No big plays, no big shots. There's just a couple of midfield shots towards the net that have been easily saved out. Bakami wants to open up the transactions and he doesn't. Only just on the line, and Fiber again.
Fiber coming out with the big plays on offense and on defense, barely able to hold on, and now here comes Arora on the attack. Fiber nearly able to spike the ball in. Sticky able to get just underneath it, but can't push it past midfield. That's going to be CJ's stop. He gets it over to Levi, throwing the ball up. Fiber going for the 50, will lose out to Kami, passing it to CJ. That shot's going to be in, and the Renegades are up 1-0.
A hard-earned goal. They really had to work for this one. CJ completely trusting Kami to take that win in the air, and you usually can. Very quick up to the ball was Kami.
Yeah, when the Renegades find those openings, they are going to strike quickly. That is the confidence that you get by being the longest standing roster within OCE. So Renegades feeling good with that 1-0 start. You have to remember back to yesterday where they actually had a slower start than the Grid Society, realistically, going down 0-2 to ground zero before bouncing it back. So having this early goal lead, perhaps they're continuing where they last left off from yesterday. CJ, a bit of an individual flair himself, but Fiber will take the ball off.
It's also really good to see. I mean, normally the Renegades, they don't struggle against anyone in the last couple of months except for Ground Zero and Cringe Society. So to see them being put under the pump by this new roster, by Aurora Esports, it's exciting for the future of OCE Rocket League.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see how Fiber's career may possibly grow following this. Obviously, still an incredibly young player, but what I've seen from him mechanically has just left me so amazed. And I actually had a chance to talk to Aurora a bit before, playing today, and their mentality I was really impressed with as well. Very laid back, very relaxed. They're having an absolute ball of a time. And when you can come into sort of these matches sort of with that laid back attitude and really starting to have fun and just enjoy playing the game, it can make you that much more deadly.
They have to as well. You got two players who only just turned 15, only just got their shot, and it's not even technically the most important tournament for them. It's the teaser, it's the taster for what is the end of Rocket League at the end of this year, for the World Championships in the future, the things that they've really been looking forward to as they turn 15, as they try and reach past that age limit that is required for Rocket League. And they've already achieved probably more than what they really wanted, or as much as they wanted when they came sixth. So all the pressure's off them.
Exactly, and let's see how this laid-back team will look again already. They've been taking it to the Renegades, a bit of a back-and-forth action, a lot of attacking and counter-attacking, but no one able to find a second goal. Sticky going to try and set up the team, however, instead from underneath will get a good, decent push out. Kami stealing it away across the box. The ball goes, no one's there to punish, and that might open the door for Fiber. Gets the ball up, challenge in the middle of the pitch, leads us to our final 5 seconds, and game number 1 looking to go the Renegades' way.
Just goes to 1 goal, and we haven't seen a lot of low-scoring games so far in this tournament. The Renegades, after that first half, stopped giving the opportunities away. The solo plays from Aurora starting to get shut down, and that was the difference. That was why they were able to hold on with 1 goal.
And it has been something I've been a little bit worried about when it comes to Aurora, is when do they come up against the players that are mechanically just as good at them to sort of match those solo plays and win those 50s up against them. And to make it all the way into the Renegades, where we start to see that solo style really start to get challenged, I think speaks volumes to how strong this team is. It's essentially once they make it to the best that they start to get challenged. And for the Renegades, though, game number 1 going their way, business as usual thus far. I think they'd like to establish a bit more control over this series as we progress.
I think the major thing as well when it comes to a team that's trying to go for a lot of solo plays is it becomes one-dimensional, and experienced players like Renegades, they're going to understand the pattern, they're going to see it happen, they know that they challenge that solo play, and there's not really a threat of the pass. It's when Aurora Esports spends a bit more time together or changes their playstyle a little bit to have that adaptation for both solo plays and passing plays, maybe some demos as well, that they are all of a sudden become a lot more unpredictable and a lot harder to defend. But for now, the start of this series should be their best opportunity to be catching Renegades off guard.
And as we look forward as well, I think one thing that I did notice, in particular in regards to Fiber, who was sort of that standout player earlier today and yesterday, he had been using a lot of his boost and resources actually to sort of stop the Renegades' attacks, and I think that's done a lot to sort of inhibit his ability to make those crazy offensive plays happen. Case in point, you can see right there, he used so much of his boost just trying to make those key defensive touches. He can't really turn that back around on the other side of the pitch, and he has been so critical for Aurora in finding their successes. I want to see Fiber have more plays akin to this on that blue side of the pitch moving forward.
You also have CJ, who has this philosophy of he'd rather be up for the ball, challenging it, than to have no action whatsoever and leave it up to his opponent to decide how that ball goes, whether that is a goal. And that's challenging for those solo plays. It forces them to make the play. It forces them into those difficult positions. So maybe if they can take CJ out of the play, they'll have a bit more of an opportunity to score.
Taking CJ out of the play, it's easier said than done. At least from what I've seen in the past, he is so fast and can be so aggressive. Again, looking to make something happen straight down the middle. Zen able to make the read and the save. However, Sticky will keep that offensive pressure on. Zen puts the ball up, but it is the Renegades who are looking to push it back down. More offensive pressure from the blue side. CJ to the middle. Shot from Sticky. It's bounced off the crossbar, not quite in.
Incredibly close, but what a passing play from Renegades, and that's their true danger, that's their true form. These infield passes that all of a sudden generate so much power. That was just going to be a straight goal if it was an inch lower on the crossbar.
Well, they might get their second chance right now, as once again it is the Renegades looking for something. Sticky thought he had that straight shot. It actually is going to turn to a counterattack. Fiber looking for a double touch. Doesn't quite have the boost to beat out Kami. A backflip from Levi might open the goal. The Renegades too slow to capitalize.
It was almost trouble, but I don't think they expected it. But Kami comes through with a major demo to open up the net, just as we expected.
It would only be a matter of time before Kami is going to get one of those critical booming demos. Open net for Sticky. CJ, he had the best seat in the house right there, just sitting there watching that ball get banged on through, and the Renegades once again up 1-0.
I mean, he's been buying the most expensive tickets. He's always watching his teammates absolutely pop off. But earlier in this tournament, he scored 8 goals across their first series, really showing up, really being that striker for Renegades.
Yeah, he can do some amazing things when given the space. Really everyone on the Renegades can. It's why they have been the best in the Oceanic region, minus that RLCS situation. But every other tournament, though, the Renegades have just completely dominated, and a lot of people would have to think this one would be the same.
I think it's also interesting. I mean, Renegades aren't particularly flashy. Sure, you have some flip resets, but Sticky up there, I mean, that's easy as pie for him. That's just a redirect. They're not trying to do anything fancy. They're trying to do the basics incredibly, incredibly well, and that's an exact testimony of that.
And it's also the second time this game where we've seen a pretty open net for Aurora as they're pushing so hard on this offense, trying so hard to make these individual plays happen. A double fake right there on the kickoff. That was a bit silly. Oh my gosh, the dunk unfortunately is not going to come through. That could have been huge for Aurora.
That was so close. That was so scary from Kami. I can't believe he went for it. But it works out for now. I don't think the attackers are expecting it either. And for now, Renegades are holding this 2-goal lead and probably going to be very, very comfortable in this position.
It's one of those things that I'm always so critical of when I'm casting, perhaps lower level Rocket League. It's never, clear the ball across the box at a slow pace because you can get punished, and we almost saw it right there. When I say lower level, I am talking high school level. Fun thing to watch, but this is obviously not high school, although there are a fair few high school players playing on the Aurora side, so maybe you can make that argument, but scary situations. Perhaps another one right now as the Renegades looking to make it 3-0. Sticky with a bit of time, just no power behind that shot, and Zen's able to clear it.
They're going to be happy holding on to the 2-goal lead anyway at this point. It's all the pressure at the moment on Arora. They're going to have to figure out how to score these goals. We have seen some more passing plays from them. We have seen some change-ups, but it hasn't led to anything thus far, and Kami has all but secured this game.
What we've been seeing from Arora as well, though, has been at times breakdowns in their defense. Levi going up to challenge a little bit too slow, and Zen unable to get himself in the way. A great spike from Kami does make it 3-0, and this is the Renegades I think we were expecting to see a bit more of yesterday as well as today. They're starting to turn in a really dominating offensive performance, nearly, however, having that kickoff go against them there.
I think what's interesting as well from Renegades is the change-up they have in terms of that pass. So most of the time they'll go for a pass infield, and you'll have somebody like Kami trying to cut inside the line to beat the defender. In that case, CJ goes for a stronger pass over the top behind the defenders, and Kami's there as well. They understand where that pass is going to. They have a change up, and it works out well because Zen was looking to get inside the line himself, and that's what catches him out.
And it's these mind games that really expose sometimes the less experienced teams who might not be ready for some kind of trickery such as that. Now, one of the glorious things about a best of 7 is there is time to adapt, and now that Arora has seen it, perhaps next time the Renegades might not be as successful, but I know the Renegades have way more tricks up their sleeve as CJ again spikes another, and that actually did look very similar to the goal we saw before.
It certainly did. That one just over and difficult to save from Fiber. He was on that backboard. He wasn't in a good spot to save the bounce touch. That is the 4th goal and game number 2 going to Renegades.
Sticky's touch on that setup as well was beautiful. I mean, he just got so much power seemingly out of nowhere. 10 seconds to go. Renegades very clearly have game 2 under their belt in this one. A very comfortable game 2 as that Renegades offense that we know and love has definitely come online, and now the pressure is going to be back on Aurora Esports to see what they can do. CJ just padding his stats a little bit. Gets the 0-seconder to make it a 5-0 total.
Didn't he get enough goals yesterday? He had got 8 goals in his first series in, I think it was 6 games. Now he's got 2 more on the board just to sweeten the deal. And Renegades, they're starting to look incredibly strong. That was a dominant game number 2.
And it's one that I think that the Renegades needed. I know within the circle I was talking to, so a lot of people of the RLO behind the scenes, we were having a bit of an argument about which team is really favored in this one, Renegades or Ground Zero, and people were saying, well, the Renegades are looking sloppy. They don't look like themselves. Well, they're looking like themselves right now, and if they continue to play like this, again, they're just sort of reaffirming why I feel they probably are that #1 team in OCE until someone dethrones them. And right now, Arora, they're just not looking like they're going to be able to.
I mean, you look at the people behind the scenes of RLO, and you understand they know nothing about Rocket League. Renegades just won the Spring Series. They're without a doubt, by proof of evidence, the best team in OCE right now.
That's what I was saying. I went on that team.
The team looking to challenge them is Cringe Society. You cannot judge them based off one series. They started off slow against Ground Zero, sure, but they brought it back and played a lot cleaner throughout. But, I mean, we saw them in the Spring Series themselves. Remember day 1 of the Spring Series, CJ with a massive own goal. I think it was actually day 2, upper bracket. A massive own goal, best own goal I've ever seen, followed up by the biggest open net miss. And if you looked at that team, you'd say, that is the worst team I've ever seen. And they went on to win that tournament. They have proven themselves. The only thing is, there's still 2 more teams in this tournament, both Aurora Esports and Cringe Society, that are only about an hour away from potentially dethroning them and becoming the new best team. That's the beauty of these tournaments.
Exactly that. And I mean, I don't know, to go back to your previous point, I suppose maybe you can make the argument that it's not necessarily the Renegades were the worst team. It just could be a case of CJ. CJ was the worst player. And the team was, lifting him above that level. However, thank you very much for providing arguments, back at that squad. I mean, you were just preaching to the choir right here, but I hope everyone behind the scenes did hear you in that rant and took down the notes. Not going to name names this time, but as you did mention before, obviously the series is not done yet. Aurora we're still waiting to see that fiber sort of pop off that we've seen from him in the past. He has that in him, some of those insane mechanical plays. We did see it a bit at the start as well. So I'm not counting out this Mountain team. I think they can bring it back. It's just they need to find ways, I feel, to open that door, give Fiber that space, and maybe let him play at that level that we've seen previously.
I mean, it's, again, so tough because Renegades are just playing very rotationally, very challenging, and preventing that boost from coming out in the first place. We also received a message from High, and he's still disagreeing. He's still basing his opinion. So if you disagree with High and still think Renegades are the best team here, just at High in chat and say you're wrong, and that'll probably get him to fix his stance on this issue. We're heading into game number 3. We're seeing if Renegades can continue their hot streak or if Arora can figure out these solo points.
Look, I wasn't going to name names, but thank you for doing so. And nonetheless, I think now you've kind of pieced together the way that argument meant. Meanwhile, honestly, this is game 3 for the game, as mentioned, 2-0, and already on the attack despite getting demoed. CJ not quite able to find that line over the top of Fiber. A very quick game. Cars kind of flying left, right, and center, but no one around the ball. Eventually, it is going to be pushed forward by Arora. Zen with that touch off the backboard. No one there, though, to turn it into a shot.
Good start already for Aurora Esports, but they weren't able to capitalize, and now they have to figure out how to get these passing plays out of defense, or they're going to start getting pressured, and that is a good touch to get that out to Levi, who has the dribble. Again, it keeps getting shut down with challenges over and over again, some confusion in front of net, but CJ didn't bump Kami in the end like I was afraid he was about to do.
Oh, instead, it's actually Kami going straight down the middle. Levi, a great challenge, just stops the ball dead in its tracks. Fiber now, a cheeky little flick, gets the bump, but it's not hard enough. Siki still able to get that clear. CJ drops it to Kami, puts a shot, and it's going to go in. That looks like another own goal.
It was. I mean, this is unfortunate. This is the only way to describe it. Levi was up for the pre-jump, hoping to stop Kami's shot, and by some miracle, it comes off the post, bounces off him, and Levi gets the dissatisfaction of an unfortunate, unlucky, but still an own goal.
Fiber nearly able, though, to punish straight away off of the kickoff. Zen has a shot. CJ somehow getting behind it. Going back to that previous goal, another sort of discussion I've been having, and again, praise for the game of Rocket League. It's one of the few games where it feels like RNG plays zero of a factor, but then you see goals like that, and you sort of have to question. I mean, you know, there's always going to be a bit of luck, I suppose. Bit unfortunate for Aurora that they didn't get that quick kickoff. CJ now trying to open the door for the Renegades. Will be stopped by Zen momentarily. Siki wrangling control. Pass across the middle. Intercepted by Levi.
I also want to give a shout out to chat for being so right. Smartest chat in all of esports. So big pat on the back, guys, as we still see Renegades in the lead on this one. Still looking to put their stamp on the competition and go up against their rivals, Cringe Society, who have been, or who were their main rivals across Spring Series as well.
Across the Spring Series, across the Gauntlet, that Anzac tournament as well. We saw, again, Renegades versus Cringe Society in that final. It's just these two teams always go at it. Zen open net, punishing an over-aggressive Renegades, and we are tied.
Great start as well. You don't often see Renegades over-aggress, but Siki had not read that situation. Zen backing up the pass from Fiber, finding an open net for his troubles.
And Arora, for the first time really this series, actually turning this into a bit more of a competitive game, tied besides that 0-0 mark. CJ was thinking about pushing it across the middle, not going to find that avenue. Again, Renegades back on defense. It's a beautiful pass to Kami, who tries to get it over the top of Levi, forcing the corner and to guide the defense sometime, but Siki is already there to look to punish. Fiber, the third man, gets a wonderful touch. Zen turning that into a shot. Kami able to make the save.
Kami's just so good at those backboard saves as well. I mean, it could have been really difficult, but he ends up getting the clear at the same time and shuts down the attack before it happens. A miss. Opened up the net, but now Siki actually gets a challenge afterwards.
I've been very impressed as well by Zen's ability with some of these redirect shots and passes across the middle. It's something that we didn't see too much from Arora before, but I kind of want to see more of it in this series alone. Zen, obviously very skilled mechanically. I'm always impressed whenever a KBM player can pull off plays like that. Kami just that little bit better on the defense in that instance, and right now it is the Renegades looking to take that lead, or are they? Levi, a long shot. It will be caught by Kami yet again.
We saw a fantastic goal from Zen in the previous series off a double tap off that side wall. And you've got Zen, you've got Fiber, both making huge plays like that. And even Levi can make a few of those big solo plays that we've seen throughout the tournament. And now we're starting to see a few more passes. In fact, that last goal was from a forward pass where they started trusting each other and moving up for the clear.
And these are the type of plays that I think we'll see more from Arora as they progress as a team, as they get more used to each other. Again, this is, a very young lineup, a very new lineup, and the fact that they have made it to the top 4 of a tournament of this caliber just speaks volumes to how strong all of these players are. And seeing them go toe-to-toe with the Renegades right now, in particular in this Game 3, it really has been a game of blow for blow, although the Renegades may have found that opening. CJ with a great touch gives the Renegades that 1-goal lead.
This is kind of painful at this point. The first one, an accidental own goal. This one, Fiber not expecting that challenge at half volleys off the challenge, off the 50, and into the net. 2 unfortunate goals just created from CJ pushing hard on the net.
Just experience again from the Renegades looking to punish, and now they're adding on to it. I wasn't sure if that was a replay at first. It happened so fast, and I just saw the ball coming from the same area into the same goal. This time, however, it's Vicky with that cheeky second touch, making it a 3-1 lead.
And smart play by Siki too. He got so close while it was still in the air to threaten that he was going to go for either a dribble or that touch while it was in the air that would bounce it up and over. And in the end, he waits for it, gets that half volley for the extra power, and really throws off the defense.
Now up 3-1, under a minute to go. It does look as if the Renegades will be advancing to that match point. Something that, again, they were probably coming into this series expecting to be. They're going to be looking for that 4-0 sweep. Kami, in fact, kind of wants to set up yet another goal for this blue side. However, it's a counterattack from Levi, making this game interesting once again. 25 seconds remaining, only a 1-goal difference.
Great clear. That's very difficult, so low to the ground for Zen to get the half volley clear off the backboard, to get that out into middle. But what's really impressive is that Levi had full trust that he was going to do it. Zen obviously called that he had it, and he got backed up perfectly by his team.
You have to think this is a much score position right now for Arora. They cannot afford to go down 3-0 against the Renegades. Even in a best of 7, that's just not a good place to be, but they've got 10 seconds to try to bring this into overtime, and they're still stuck on their own side of the pitch. 5 seconds remaining. It's going to be an attempt to push it through, but Kami just shutting it down. The Renegades relentless with these tight rotations and tight cutoffs. Arora has to go the distance of the pitch right now and keep that ball in the air. Fiber just unable to stop Siki from spiking it down, and the Renegades advance to match point.
So difficult in the last minute as CJ was cutting with 0 boost and being so effective with 0 boost to make sure that there was always pressure on the ball, always bumps coming out, and no chance for Arora to get back into it. I think we saw a big step up from Arora in some of their plays, and maybe if they had a little bit more luck with those 2 unfortunate plays, they could have had a very different game. But you can't rely on luck when you're now trying to reverse sweep.
No, you can. As you mentioned before, it's time to start dominating for Arora. And again, I'm looking at Fiber. 0 goals so far in this series. He needs to become active, I feel like, for this lineup to have success, at least during this, organization's infancy stages. That's how they were able to get to that stage. It's been a lot of amazing plays by Fiber, setting up the rest of the team with Zen and Leviathan at times, pulling off their own moments of greatness. Just Fiber unable to get going. The Renegades kind of been relentless in shutting him down, and if they can't get Fiber active, I don't see a way for them really to realistically make that reverse sweep.
We can also look at the series earlier today where Zen scored 9 of their 16 goals. So the experience and the mechanics of Zen could be also what picks them up, but we're not seeing too much from him either. We need a little bit more as Kami goes to the bump. It did prevent the player from going up in defense. The shot wasn't on target.
Yeah, CJ probably will want that one back as it was pretty open for him. Not a complete open net. There was still a defender there, so we don't need to meme him too hard. That said, the Renegades starting to push forward right now, but only momentarily. Levi trying to make something happen. Does get the bump. Fiber a little bit too slow to the ball, and Siki's already there to try and open up something for the Renegades. Ball in the box. Levi makes the save.
Smart save from Levi. He had to worry about someone coming in. There wasn't anyone from Renegades up for it, but he had to worry about it. That one's not quite in. More unfortunate circumstances, but, you know, both teams at this point have had one that almost found the net.
Yeah, I think each of these teams would be quite happy, you know, to sort of reset this first minute of game number 4, perhaps, especially if it can ensure they were able to get one of those goals in. Standing still 0-0. A chance for CJ. Doesn't get the touch he's looking for. Kami a bit too far back to bang it through, but being that third man, it could open the door for that counterattack. Levi leading the charge through the corner. Going to try to drop the ball into the box. Shot not quite there. CJ with a great little bump stops the Arora attack.
More good attacks at both ends, and that shot is saved immediately by Kami. As Fiber keeps this one in the mix. Zen is across there as Siki gets the touch and has actually put Zen in a sticky situation. Now it's the counterattack. CJ up to Siki. The Fiber intercept. Some great midfield intercepting going on. That one's in front of net, and Kami misses. It was wide open, and he can get it on target.
I don't think the Renegades were really expecting that gift to be delivered to them right there. It was a very awkward pass, and Renegades a little bit too slow and perhaps a little bit too over-eager to truly punish them. A great touch from CJ nearly leads to the waterfall, then makes the read. That said, Renegades still out for blood, still looking to ice this series at 4-0. That ball is semi-dangerous, but Levi can't take the corner. Pass is successful. Kami was waiting, willing, throws the ball near the goal. Fiber barely able to make that save.
Been a strong attack as Renegades kept putting the ball up nice and high and never really using their boost, never chasing it too far, giving themselves a circumstance where they're in the boost advantage, and even there that allowed them to hold on to that defense with that boost advantage and potentially continue attack. We still see zero boost coming out from a couple of members of Aurora Esports, and it's going to be more difficult for them to hold on as the pressure has started again.
Already so much pressure in this one, and we're just adding more and more as the Renegades continue to find attacking avenue after attacking avenue. Occasionally Aurora might get one of these openings, but they really only have chance for maybe one shot before the defense. The Renegades is able to open the door for the counterattack. Kami puts a great touch on the ball. Fiber able to make that save. CJ racing around, not going to find another opening in this attack.
In that defense, though, we see Aurora able to secure the boost. That is the end of that pressure play, and they did it so well to hold on for almost a minute and a half of solid boost draining. Now it's the pass play across to Siki. He's opened it up for CJ. If you can find an angle, he couldn't get the pass into center.
Yeah, unfortunately, Siki wasn't able to follow it through as well. However, this could be another chance. CJ up for it, can't make contact with the ball. Zen, unfortunately, only has the corner to play it through. Shot from Kami will be stopped by Fiber yet again. Siki, a very, very deep challenge. CJ off the backboard. Ball's there for Siki to bang it in, and it is 1-0 for the Renegades.
This is absolutely just straining from the Renegades. They just keep taking all the boost. Only one player left with any boost, and at the end of that play, zero boost left for Aurora Esports. Eventually it was going to break if they got one high. This is the power of Renegades, especially if you're not expecting and you're not experienced as a team against this kind of play.
You can't have those solo plays if you don't have the boost for it, and the Renegades have just done such a good job in shutting that down. And a minute 10 remaining. Aurora, they need a goal to stay alive in this tournament, to keep their miracle run dreams alive, but with touches like that out of Kami, it becomes so much more difficult. CJ can't quite turn that into a shot on target just yet. Kami again is going to throw the ball to CJ, still trusting his team, but Aurora is starting to push forward. They're looking for those intercepts. They're looking for those challenges. They're desperate to make something happen.
This is so difficult now. Not only do they need a reverse sweep, but they need to get this one goal. It's on target, but Kami is back to make the save. CJ as well. Now it's open, but CJ again makes the save in front of net. I don't think it was quite on target, but even still, that touch gives him the clear. The attack has to get done in the next 30 seconds. They need to equalize, and yet it looks so difficult as the experienced Renegades know how to hold on to this one goal lead.
Not only do they know how to hold on to leads, but they also know how to do so a lot of times on the opposite side of the pitch. There is no fear on this Renegade side to keep the attack going. And now with 10 seconds remaining, Levi puts together a great touch. Zen is there, but not quite fast enough. Fiber does not have the boost to get above that ball as we hit 0 seconds. I believe that was Siki who just ended the game, and the Renegades get the clean sweep to advance to the grand final.
Renegades do it again. They make the grand final. They secure their rematch against Cringe Society in a dominant, suffocating fashion against Aurora Esports. Aurora having had a huge tournament, of course. They did way better than we certainly expected from these rookie players, from, you know, two 15-year-olds brought up by the experience of Zen on that team. And I think a big pat on the back to see Aurora go through. This is exact case in point of when you have in Rocket League, you can have a team look rough, look bad, but Aurora didn't play poorly throughout this series at all. They were just made to have very difficult situations, to have no boost, to ever make a play throughout this series, which makes it look like a worse showing when they did have a top 4 OC performance.
I mean, it's one of the pitfalls of sort of having a fairly one-dimensional playstyle. I mean, yeah, they love those solo plays. They love those individual plays, and they got them this far. But once you have sort of that script or the know-how and how to beat it, in this instance, just boost-starving them relentlessly, it really puts them under that pump. And unfortunately, I don't think that experience is quite there yet to find ways around that to recover and find sort of that second avenue to get back in it. Again, though, it wasn't until they went up against, you know, the #1 team in OCE, the Renegades, that they truly were able to be punished. So it's not as if this was a bad team or a easy way to expose them. Obviously, they got this far for a reason. This is a fantastic lineup, and I hope they have that bright future ahead of them. But Renegades, they did prove to be too much for them to handle.
It was too much, but we do have an interview. Congratulations, CJ, on that victory.
Yeah, thanks, Yummy. Appreciate it. Hope you casted well.
Oh, I did not. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint.
All right. That's no good.
All right. Well, I guess looking forward straight to those questions. First question I want to ask, though, is like going up against Aurora, they seem to have a very almost straightforward play style. Were you truly able to recognize that and then counter it? Was that something you had pre-planned ahead of time, or did it just come naturally for you?
Well, didn't really know too much about this new lineup, but we obviously have been watching throughout the day, and they've had, you know, a lot of solo play goals, a lot of double touches. Fiber's pretty good individually, so we weren't really too much, you know, focused on that. Just more watch out for their solo players and don't give them too much time.
And how are you feeling throughout the series? Obviously, you got a 4-0, and it was pretty solid overall. You think that you're in good form towards the grand final?
Yeah, I think so. I think we always start slow, as we saw yesterday against Ground Zero. So I think we can play a lot better, but happy that, you know, it was a pretty solid 4-0 and we kept them pretty well. You know, we kept their scoring pretty low, so it was pretty good.
And then once again, that grand final is going to be against Cringe Society. Seems like you two are always playing against each other. Do you have any sort of words for your upcoming opponents? Any challenges you want to throw down?
It's going to be a good one. Obviously, the super team, super tough to beat. So, yeah, really looking forward to versing the super team and seeing how we go. Should be a good one. Hopefully put on a good show for everyone watching.
Well, thank you. Congratulations once again, CJ.
Thank you.
And we're going to be looking straight into that one. We'll give you some time to have a rest before this next series. It's going to be the grand final. Don't miss out. It is Renegades up against Cringe Society after this short break.